Hello, everybody. Today is March 28th, 2012, or as it feels like to me, August 3rd, 1997, because I can't keep up with time. My name is Dan Boole. I'm president of 65 Amps in North Hollywood, California. And today, just for fun, instead of a 65, I am playing an original Trainwreck. This is a Trainwreck amp designed and built by Ken Fisher out of New Jersey. For those of you that aren't familiar with Trainwrecks, it's one of these things. And this one is Ingrid from '92. Ken used to name all of his amps. And there's a little note there to the original owner from Ken Fisher. And this amp is a Trainwreck Express. Hi, Norwegian Slow-Mo. How are you? So, it's a pair of EL34s with three 12X7s in the preamp. It's a very simple amp. And Ken Fisher is one of the guys that I sort of admire when it comes to clean, pure amp design. He's sort of the opposite of another guy who is known for his outrageously expensive amps. And this amp was lent to me by my good friend Don so that I could use it as a tone reference for designing stuff here. And this one was influential on the Empire and the producer. This amp's 20 years old, as you saw. It's completely hand-wired, extremely clean, extremely simple. Ken Fisher was the guy. I have the thing on my board back here that says, "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication," which is a quote by Leonardo da Vinci. And I think Ken Fisher sort of embodied that with his amps. So it's very fun. The Express, I think, was first built in the early to mid 80s. And it was his first big foray into doing this. And he made it for some studio guys in New York. And it just caught on. And Ken Fisher passed away in 2006. Had a lot of health problems toward the end of his life. But the Trainwreck amps that are out there in the world are worth a lot of money. This is the Express, which is the most valuable one that he made. I don't know what the real market value is on this. I've seen them go as high as $45,000 to $50,000. This one's in pretty outstanding shape. I would give it a 9 out of 10. There's a couple small little dings in the wood, but otherwise the finish looks brand new on it. The interior is completely unmolested. Dead stock. It has Mullard tubes in it and a couple of interesting vintage preamp tubes. Elegant solutions, Fonzarelli says. That's right. Which is kind of the way I feel about audio circuitry. Simple and elegant is usually much better sounding to me than complex, because they're just 400 solder joints and parts that your signal's got to go through. And if you can build it correctly, you don't need all that stuff. And Ken Fisher sort of lived by that. His amps were all pretty simple. And they weren't copies of other amps, which is the thing that I also love about it. The tone stack on this is sort of a hybrid between American and British. If you look up a schematic on the Trainwreck Express, you'll be astonished at how few parts are in it. This is also one of the most copied amps in the boutique world. I haven't heard a copy that sounds like this one, but I've heard lots of really good copies that sound nice. But so I'm just going to play for a minute. I got a Les Paul here to start. I'll get out a Strat and a Tele and a Junior, and we'll do all that stuff, and I'll just give you a little tasting of it. So the volume's on 4. It's a really dirty amp. I mean, it gets freaking nasty. I gotta warm up my hands too. does he get it to drive so hard without a master volume? It's very well made, and it's lots of gain. And good tubes and good transformers. If you were to run this through sort of average transformers, it would sound like trash cans rolling down the street. Ken was very, very neurotic about his transformers. And these are very sweet. No, they're not Pacifics, Frank. There's lots of rumors as to what he used. The truth from the Trainwrecks I've seen is he used whatever he liked. The other one, I don't know what you mean, Frank. There's a bunch of transformer companies. I mean, I've seen his stuff with Dynacos and Motorola's. I don't know if they're specific in some. There could be. I know Sergio Hammernick made some transformers for him. I think he just found ones that he liked and used them. Yeah, usual mic setup, Josh. That's right. A couple of ribbon mics and a diaphragm mic. Motorola made really good transformers. Yeah, Motorola, before they were a cell phone company, they made hi-fis. And the name Motorola comes from the stereo for cars. They made a little stereo with a turntable you could play in a car, and they call it a Motorola. Hi, Doug Guillaume. Bassface Josh. This is my 1970, 71, whatever it is, Marshall cabinet. Oh, I'm doing really good, Doug. Thank you. I'm a little visibly tired today, but I'm playing my good friend Don's Trainwreck, which I'm sort of shamelessly pimping. It's actually for sale. Yeah, it's a really dirty amp. It's too bad I am a suck slide player. Output tubes are Mullard EL34s. They're labeled Tungsol 6CA7s, but if you look, it says made in Great Britain, and they look just like a Mullard EL34. So I can't play slide at all. I can hit some chords for you. I'm a horrible slide player. Can't do it. See? It's a joke. I'm really bad. I don't know why. I just can't do it. You know what else I can't do? Make myself burp. And I can't play slide. So I'll try. But I'm totally comfortable embarrassing myself on the internet. You want me to try it? Let me try neck pickup on it too. Can you snap your fingers? Yeah, I can sort of do that. Oh, that's funny. I can't do it. Yeah, I know. Everyone's surprised. I just don't play slide. You know what? I couldn't stay interested in it. I love listening to guys play slide, and I could probably try to practice it. Can you fart on command? No, I can't do that. But you're right, Eric. I don't. Hey, when are you coming over, by the way? I thought you were coming over. Not bad. Not too good either. You're absolutely right, Fonzarelli. I prefer the more politically correct term, suck. I just don't care. I don't know why. It's a flaw in my personality. I don't get it. Friday'd be better for me, Eric. I might actually have my kids with me on Friday, so it's a day off for school. Little neck position. And this thing gets really dirty if I crank it up. I'll kill it for you for a minute if you want to hear it. But it's old school raunch. You know, this is like 7. That just sound too dirty? Am I killing Ustream now? Killing my headphones. Sounds kind of swampy in my headphones. What's the song? I just heard it on the radio the other day too. What is it? Sound like out there?
Didn't somebody say something about they like their Trainwreck clone more than their whatever?
Yeah.
Tell them to listen to both amps for string to string balance.
Yeah.
And articulation and definition.
Well, thank you. 80s rock? Oh yeah, I know a bunch of 80s rock. I was playing cover music in the early 80s. So I know a bunch of those bad songs. A bunch of them. But there's a bunch of 80s stuff recorded on Trainwrecks. I think Bryan Adams guy did. Billy Gibbons did. And if you look on the website, there's a bunch of stuff. Yeah, it's big and raunchy. Ain't Talking About Love. How's it going? It's been so long. High school since I played that song. I literally haven't played that song since I was a teenager, I think. Just A minor to G, right? Ah! It's a whole song, isn't it? Ain't talking about love. Yeah, for early Van Halen sound. And the phone rings on. That's the whole song. Yeah, that's what I thought. There's not much to it. There's a bunch of good songs on that first record. Oh my gosh, I haven't listened to Van Halen 1 in so long. There's one I really like, and I can't think of how it goes now.
That's the right amp for it. You know, that sounds very similar to your 50-watt Marshall.
Yeah, they're pretty close. And Marshall's a little more nasally.
Yeah.
Atomic Punk. I need a phaser for that, though. If I ever get an LA layover, is your shop near the metro line? Frank, you're a pilot, actually. We're right by the Burbank Airport. So,
I'd even go pick them up.
yeah, you can. There's a train. Doesn't the train come to the Burbank Airport? Isn't there some commuter train that goes there?
No, that's the Metrolink.
That's the Metrolink.
Yeah, you don't. But from the Burbank Airport, you can get on the Burbank Blue Bus.
Yeah, LAX only. Yeah, you can get up here, and I'll come get you. If you can get to the North Hollywood station, I'll come grab you. It's no problem. Yeah, Jamie's crying. How does that go? How is that? Oh, I can't remember how it goes now at all. Running with the devil. I'm blanking. And Lagos, Nigeria lately. Wow. Yeah, we're not close to there. It seems more saturated than in 872204. Yeah, where I have it sitting, it is. It's like on 7. It's a cranking little amp. What is that amp? Gibson Guitar says. This is an original Trainwreck from 1992 named Ingrid. This is a Trainwreck Express. Josh, do you really want to hear that? Bassface Josh, who's hilarious.
You can tell him that I've uploaded the manual to Facebook.
Okay, the manual's on Facebook. Miles just posted all the pictures.
Better pictures later.
Yeah, Josh. Oh, you're funny. I can't even repeat what he just wrote on the chat window. He's hilarious. Every week, Josh makes me laugh. Yeah, I remember all that BS. Sing. Jenny, Jenny, who can I turn to? You give me something I can hold on to. I saw your number written on the wall. I should put reverb on my voice just for fun. Jenny, I got your number. 866 However it goes. Probably a little cleaner than that, isn't it? I don't know any UFO. Sorry. I suck. And Wild Nights twice. 86753. It's still a cool song. What's the other one I know the guy played a train wrecker? What is that? Oh, I need a Strat for that, I think. Driving home this evening, could have sworn we had it all worked out. You had this boy believing, way beyond a shadow of a doubt. Gosh, what comes out of the memory banks? Well, I heard it on the street. I used to sing that high when I was a kid. Heard you might have found somebody new. Well, who is he, darling? Who is he? And tell me what he means to you. Driving on the scene. Well, it cuts like a knife. Well, it feels so right. Something like that. What other 80s nonsense? You can tell the stuff I had to sing when I was in high school. Those things are burned into your memory like a trauma from childhood. They're actually not bad songs. I just didn't like them at the time. Yeah? Huh? Something like that. I can't remember the lick now. That's right. Jesse's Girl. Yeah, I played that one before, didn't I? You want to hear Jesse's Girl? Who are some of the makers of Trainwreck clones? I don't know. There's a bunch of guys. I don't know. I'm not really into clones. I don't really pay attention. Ramble On. Neck pickup volume on 3 for the acoustic part. Really? Isn't that just an acoustic? What about George Clooney? Ah, that's funny. I like that. What is it? I can't remember Ramble On now. It does the... that's not right. Seriatone is one. What do you think of the... I don't really know Seriatone amps. I mean, I know Nick Osm. I mean, he's a really nice guy, but I've never really played one of his amps. That's a different song? Oh, what is Ramble On? God, I'm tired today. I really am tired. Oh, I have it in my head. I need to hear it. Did you guys see that link I posted today with a mashup of Whole Lotta Love and Helter Skelter that somebody did in Pro Tools? It's on my Facebook page. Check it out. It's ridiculous. I could sit and listen to you play all day. Do you have any records? No, I don't really. I just you can hear his amp makes noise. It was see if I can sing it. When I get to the bottom, I get back to the start, and I stop. I can't sing and play that. Then I go for a ride, then I see you again. Oh, Helter Skelter. All amps do what? E, D, A, strum, 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 etc. I just can't remember the phrase on Ramble On. I'm having one of those blank moments. My other computer's gone. Oh yeah, this amp makes noise. Listen to it. I don't know how much that's coming through in my headphones. It's really loud. All amps make noise. And this one doesn't have an effects loop. Oh my gosh, how do you play it? I don't know. I don't know how you exist. I don't know how you would do that. Hiss and noise. Up on the 7th fret. E. Something like that. I know it's not right. Effects loops. I just don't need them. No effects loops. Gotta be garbage. That's right. That's what they say on those forums, man. Something like that. I have to listen to it. I don't have the phrase right, I know. Ramble on. How's it go? I have to listen to it. Darn it. I'm blanking on Zeppelin. I'm not a jukebox, goddammit. Here's a nice old handmade amp with old parts and old tubes, and it's kind of doing its thing. How about the Ocean? Which one is the Ocean? That's not whatever he does. It's Only Love. Yeah, Ashley Dasher. What is It's Only Love? Is that, oh, right. Is that the one he did with Tina Turner? My memory banks aren't good. That's a little too dirty, isn't it? cleaner. Nah, I'm not a horrible slide player. I'd love to. I've got the guitar volume on 3 right now. Is there a slide part in that song? I don't know. Hey, what's up, Mr. Williams? You hung out with my cousin Matt the other night? How's Matt? How old's the little kids? Let's try a Strat. Just for contrast, I think you got the idea on what this does. Let me get a Stratocaster out. Tune it up. Today's show is brought to you by our good friends at Royer Microphones and our good friends at Strymon Pedals. Matt, my cousin Matt, couldn't believe that you had a 65. When is my Gretsch going to be done? I don't know. And Chris Fleming was going to come be on the show a few weeks ago and had to bag out at the last second because he got called in some corporate meeting at Fender. But I would like to have my Gretsch finished. Come on, floating tremolo, hold tight. Okay. Here we go. Let the games begin. I haven't touched the amp. Settings are all the same. We'll see how she do with the Stratocaster. Woo, that's loud. Oh yeah. Whew, this amp makes noise. They're all like that. They all do. Every good old amp makes noise. That is ballsy. Are you going to do a Gretsch 65 lunch show when it's done? Yeah, absolutely. Song I was doing, and it sounds better on this. jam on the guitar in about 5 right now. Here's Wide Open. Yeah, somebody mentioned Aerosmith a minute ago, and I should have played it while I had the Les Paul on. I know the basic Aerosmith, you know. I used to play that in high school. I don't know if that's close or not. But just that nice little boogie riff underneath. Yeah, someone does want to sell it. So it should be in a loving home, you know. It's kind of just sitting in storage now. And it's an investment grade amp. Whether you really like it or not, it just has value on the market. Ashley Dasher 1 says, what's the story behind this amp? Is it an older one or a new one? No, this is an original one. It doesn't matter if they're making them again from Ken's bench, and he doesn't have parts left over. You need to be Ken making it. These weren't production amps. You can't just copy them. It's a little bit of a myth, you know. It's like all these guys that make Dumble clones and Trainwreck clones. They never sound the same because it's not the guy, you know. Ken's dead. He's not making amps. He died in 2006. I'd be very wary of someone saying they're making him from Ken's parts. You know. He's not. He hasn't been making amps for a long time. It's a very easy amp to copy because it's really simple. But it's not the circuit that you're listening to. It's Ken Fisher. And the tubes that are in this amp don't exist anymore. You know, modern tubes don't do this. They don't get close. This is my 1970-71 Marshall cabinet. Ashley Dasher. Go second position here to get rid of some hum. I have seen some Dumbles. Yeah, I've been inside 3 of them. They're good. It's not my thing. You know, the clean sound, I think, on a Dumble is really, really nice. The dirt's not my favorite thing. Yeah, it's just the whole cloning thing is not... You know, Dumble has his own circuit. I mean, it's loosely based on a Fender Showman that he's added stuff to. They're very well made. The workmanship is outstanding, just like inside of this one. They have a very distinct sound. which is nice. It does its thing. Yeah, I've seen the goop. You can measure all the parts, but Mr. Dumble has some very strong feelings about his circuitry and wants to protect it, and I respect that. Most competent amp guys have figured out what it is, and I'm not going to be the one to tell you what it is. It's important to him, so I'm going to respect that. That's no problem. And Dumbles, Trainwrecks, were all a little bit different. They had different transformers, different resistors, all that stuff. And the Trainwrecks, I think, are a little more consistent than the Dumbles. They don't vary as much, but they do vary. Can use a lot of different transformers, and he used what he felt were the best parts of the time, So he made amps over the course of 15, 20 years. Yeah. So, it is what it is. I mean, I have opinions. I'm not here to trash anybody. But I played a lot of Trainwreck clones, and they don't sound like this one. They sound good. I mean, they're good amps, but they don't do this. Ashley Dasher says, what are your dislikes about the Rex? This one's a little wild, for me. I like it with the volume at 5 or less. But when this amp was made, that was considered normal. Yeah, Doug, there's a lot of gain in the amp. The B Plus isn't that high, though. They're not high voltage amps. The B Plus on this is surprisingly low. It's a lot lower than a Marshall. A lot lower than a Fender. Which, I told you I used it as sort of an inspiration for some of our stuff, so you get the idea. There's a lot of things I really like about this amp. I think it could be a little more versatile, but... So the 6CA, it's a good question, Eric. Was he making them to use 6CA7s rather than straight 34s? No. There's a period in tube history where Mullard and RCA and Sylvania and GE all cooperated and said, you make those, we'll make these. So the 6CA7s that are in here are actually just Mullard EL34s. They're labeled 6CA7s, but if you look at it, you can tell it's a Mullard EL34. They're newer. By newer, I mean 70s tubes. I have some 60s Mullards that I've put in here, and I think it sounds better. I just didn't have time to change tubes and bias it up today, but it makes it sound a little more rich, with the 60s Mullards in it. And you put brand new tubes in it, it doesn't sound, it sounds pretty spitty. But what he did make hot is the gain. No, they're labeled Tungsols, but it says made in Great Britain. Tungsol never made any tubes in Great Britain. Oh, that phone's loud. I mean, it's a good sounding amp. I love it. I got the neck pickup now in about 4.5. put on a little effects if you want. That's my Strymon L Capistan. Do I have something with P90s? Yeah, I have a Junior. I can play a Junior. Let's do that. Let's do that really quick. And Paul Ovenstad says, what EL34s would you recommend for my producer if I were to search for some good old ones? Mullards or Telefunkens are my favorites. Mullard EL34s tend to make everything sound better. It's kind of the holy grail tube, in my opinion, for power tubes. I'm not much of a 6L6 guy. I think Mullard EL34 sound great in a twin. You know, like they make every amp sound better. So this is my 59 Junior. It's a real 59. The tuning keys are trash, so you'll pardon me if it doesn't stay in tune very well. I'm just really afraid. Yeah, Paul, I like XF2s and XF1s. I mean, XF3s and XF4s are great, if you can find them. There are just so many few left that aren't just dead pulls, you know. Where someone's just pulled them out of a hi-fi, and they're selling them as NOS, but they're not. NOS tubes come in a box with paper around them. If they don't have that, they're not NOS. But yeah, XF2 Mullards are getting where they're like $200 a piece now, or more. XF3s and XF4 sound great. The Siemens, the German version of those that they made in the 70s and 80s are actually pretty good tubes. If you can find XF1 or XF2 Mullards that are more than 60% good, buy them. They're great. Poor old guitar. All right, it's close enough. No KT77s. Yeah, you could put 77s in there. They're hard to find. I mean, you know, Genelex or GEC are the ones you want. This guitar makes so much noise. It's going to be, there's so much gain on this amp, it's going to hum like crazy. Are you ready? That's how much gain there is in this thing. And it's not spread out across 7 tubes like modern amps are. It's just across 2. Turn the echo off. Yeah, it's a dirty, dirty amp. Like it's. Billy recorded with all kinds of stuff. I know he used a '69 Super Lead Marshall on a lot of stuff, and yeah, he's used Fender stuff and whatever sounds good. I think he's not sort of dedicated, you know. Depends on the song, I think. Yeah, that's the thing about a simple pure amp is it's going to reflect the guitar better than something that has 24 knobs and 16 switches and effects loops and reverbs and all that stuff. All that stuff waters down your signal. It's just more solder joints and more parts to go through, so it will cover up if you're using cheap parts and cheap transformers. You can kind of get rid of all the craziness. That's right, Rob. Billy's rig for about a decade has just been rack mount stuff. And he's got a little EQ thing that makes all of his guitars sound like his Les Paul. Because I know his back's really bad, so he's got all of his guitars hollowed out and plays really light strings on them and all that stuff because his back hurts. What's that one? That sort of thing. Hey, it's a fun amp, isn't it? Yeah, I can't say that Fonzarelli on the show, but I agree. You know, it's Frank asked, could you ever do the master voltage as a separate unit like an attenuator? No. It functions so exactly opposite of attenuator, but I need to be tied into the power section on the amp. Extra knobs can be fun, but you just don't get this out of it. You know, the amps with all those knobs on it are not going to do that. You know, what this amp is based on is using really good parts and really great workmanship and really good transformers. There's just no way to get around that. There's no way to do that cheaply, unfortunately. You know, you're not going to get a Ferrari for 30 grand. Just doesn't happen. You can get a Honda. So yeah, I got an amp with 4 knobs on it and a guitar with 1 pickup and 2 knobs. Well, it sounds pretty good, right? That's all those lights in here doing that. It might be the computer screen doing that. But, get the idea. Man, his phone's ringing off the hook. Yeah, Eric, but those Ferraris were kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Pieces of, what is it? Oh, they barely run now. Yeah, I mean, a tone knob usually sounds better than a tone stack because there's just less there if you have a good circuit with good parts. This sounds dark to you? I can fix that. I can go super bright. I don't have a Rickenbacker in the room. That's a good idea, though. Maybe next week or something. There's just a different bright cap on the front. Take the last train to Clarksville. Meet me at the station. Be there by 4:30, or I'll break your freaking nose. Oh no no no, no no no. Where's the low end dial? The bass is on 6 right now. So you like it better? Yeah, someone told me earlier to turn the bright switch off, so. The cap that's on here is so bright though, it's rolling out a lot of bass. Here's the semi-bright cap. I got my guitar on 3.5 right now. Happy, that's right. Got that sort of thing to it. The Bryan Adams lick's gonna be in your head for the rest of the day. This one. brown sugar. Well, I can do it without a capo, I guess. It's in C though, isn't it? Who's singing? Oops. There you go. It's actually an open G, but I just didn't want to tune down. Yeah, does that. It's a good amp. That's why these things go for $40,000 to $50,000. But I've never heard a clone sound like that. I've played a lot of Trainwreck clones. And like I say, they all sound good. They all sound really good. They just don't sound like that. How many were made? That's a good question. I think there's a couple hundred or something. Do you guys know? There's not that many. I mean, it was like Dumble. He never made that many amps. Yeah, Ken had some immune problem from being exposed to paints and lead solder and all that kind of stuff. It could be less than 100. I don't know. Somebody Google it really quick and see what you can find out. Yeah, Brad Paisley plays Trainwrecks, even though he's got that other amp all over the stage. What you're hearing are his Trainwrecks and his old AC30s. Faces, Black Crow stuff, yeah. Something here really quick. I know your name's Rita. Let's see. Boom, boom, cheeky, boom, 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 cheeky, boom. This is funny. Let's see if I can make my voice not sound so bad. Cheeky, cheeky, boom, 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 boom. Well, maybe it's not worth the time. It's hard to make me sound good. I'm not a singer. Quick search states approximately 100 made. Yeah, that would make sense. I'd guess that's right. Somebody said earlier they were trying to figure out what guitar Peter was playing. That's an Elliot Tone Master, which I have one here if you want to hear it. Looks like a Jazz Master, but it's basically P90s wound on a Jazz Master bobbin, and it's got a Telly style bridge and a really nice neck on it. Stones riffs. Let's see. Get that low E string right. Well, yeah, there you go. Old school tube amp, man. Something like that. I'm so tired I can't play. But you get it. Stones action. Blaine says you use Stone Pony for faces. Yeah, you can do that. That sounds a little more like the faces than this. Poor old guitar. 53-year-old tuning keys. Yeah, not gonna work. I need a capo or something. A few years ago, I think they'll be talking about, or in a few years, I think they'll be talking about 65s like they do Dumble and Trainwrecks. Wow, that's very nice. Thank you. That's a very humbling thing to read. I appreciate it. I don't know. Ken Fisher was definitely an inspiration to me. I love the fact that he went for what he said. Just don't die. I'm not planning to. Thank you, Dirty 59. Jeez, yeah. This is a good question here. I thank you guys. I don't know how to respond to that. I thank you. That's very, very generous thing to say. It says, I just brought a Royer R121. Can I get away with using the pre's on a PreSonus live board? That's what you're listening to now. No, that's not true. I got a little better pre's. You know, their pre's are pretty good, really. You guys are really, really embarrassing me. Thank you. You can see I'm actually blushing. That's so very nice. I do appreciate it sincerely. I'm very humbled by that. I don't know what to say. Yeah, the pre's are good. You're probably going to want, yeah, I told you. I have a hard time with compliments, but I do appreciate it. I seriously do. It's so very, very generous and nice. I'm an emotional guy. You guys might have figured that out. And I'm emotional about my amps. And I'm emotional about my business. And I'm emotional about my family. And I'm emotional about guitars. And I'm emotional about my wife. And I'm emotional about my children. And I want to live life kind of full. I'm trying, at least. Yeah, the PreSonus pre's in this board are actually pretty good. Doug, when you fill out your warranty on your Royer, just mention that you heard it on my show. That'll help those guys. I was crying playing my producer the other day, almost. Wow. That's cool. Thank you. That's kind of the way I feel. Like, it's kind of weird. A lot of people ask me, how do you know when an amp's done? And I tell people when I'm playing it, I start dancing. And, well, how do you quantify that? As I don't. It just, when it gets right and I'm out there playing guitar in the shop, I start dancing around. And I make everyone in the shop really laugh hard. Thanks, Doug Guillaume. That's a really nice set. I've sold a lot of gear, amps included, to get my Empire, and I'd do it again for sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. That stuff really means a lot to me. I put my pointy little head into these things, and it's really, really an honor when people get it. So thank you so much. I'm a little gobsmacked. I'm sorry. The thing is, my good amps don't seem good anymore after I played a 65. Wow. Right on. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Miles is our buddy. He gets what we do. He likes my neurosis. And don't sell your wife for an amp. Tune, but it still works. ETA on your cabs soon. We're starting to get cabinets in just slowly. Rob Balla says, I keep thinking about my Ventura. Yeah, thanks. We're making a bunch of them this week, actually. So, So, like I said, this amp is for sale. If you know the price range on it, this is at the lower end of the price range. The guy's ready to make a deal, so. Gibson Guitar Guy says, how much if you don't know the price range? Same price. This amp, yeah, I'll play the Elliot here really quick. No. I don't really know what it's worth. I've seen them go as high as 45 or 50. This guy is open to offers. It's definitely an investment grade amp. You're not going to lose money on it. It just depends on how long you want to sit on it. 4,500, right? Yeah, no. It's I think somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 would get you the amp, which is a pretty good price for it. Cash, all those sorts of things are always discussing. Would he trade for one of Michael Schenker's Marshalls? No. I don't think so. Marshalls are not very rare, regardless of who owned it. There's a few people that can increase the value of a Marshall, but Hendrix. That's about it, really. I've seen so many of Clapton's Marshalls go for sale, and nobody cares. Oh, I know you're just kidding, Eric. And you hear this Elliot rings acoustically really loud. And it's a very cool P90 sort of sound. I'm not even going to adjust the amp. I'm just going to turn it on. Roll the guitar down a little bit. What's up with Jay at Emerald City? If there's another store there, he's just making so much money on vintage guitars. I think he's not carrying a lot of high-end amps. Let me back up so you guys can see this guitar. It's very fun. Who's the dealer in Oregon? Pro Guitar Shop? Pro Sound? Is that what it's called? Yeah, Z's cost like half of what ours do, so this is a different animal. Guitar on about 7 right now. It's a gainy ass amp. Now, if you were to play a modern guitar into this, that you know, like with 10 or 12K pickups or EMGs, this thing would squish like butter. None of my pickups are very hot. By Andy Elliott in North Carolina. I think if you go to elliottguitars.com. This is the Tone Master, and Peter helped design it with Andy. Andy made Peter's dreams come true. Somebody's guitar with a pine body. Was it the Red Rooster? I haven't played one of Lance's guitars with a pine. I like Lance's guitars, they're nice. I know what this sounds like. That's it, isn't it? Doesn't that sound kind of like the record? I don't know why it was reminding me of that. Let me turn the guitar down just a little bit. Yeah, a complicated front end amp won't respond like that, especially when you have your gain stretched out across like 4, 5, 6, 7 tubes. You don't get that dynamic range at all. And those are just two 12AX7s and a phase inverter. It was very responsive. Like I got the guitar now on 5. The guitar's wide open now. Guitar on 5. I don't know why that song just crept into my head. What's that note? Something. I don't know. McCartney. Oh, I know why, because I had that link, the Rude Studio thing that was going around. If we ever get out of here. If we ever get out of here. Yeah. An LSL. Elliot sounds fantastic. Yeah, I really... Oh, good question here. Woovie says, have you done a video demo of the Ventura combo? No, I'm waiting on my first covered ones this week. Yeah, Eric, I did listen to the guitar part soloed, and it was totally out of tune and funky, wasn't it? McCartney doing it all himself. I should have that really soon. Yeah, the guitar parts were not very impressive on that, were they? But, you know, it's a well-mixed record, well-made song. I think Paul did that stuff more like demo tapes, and it turned out so good he just went ahead and published it. And he's a bass player. He's a left-handed bass player. You know, guitar's not... He doesn't have guitar hands. Although he did play Blackbird and all that kind of stuff, but... Yeah, that guitar was... yeah, he's a freak. A good freak. I love Paul. I'm just saying. I love Paul. And I think there's an element of Paul. It's like, you know, it sounds fine. I can do what I want to do. It's just a rock and roll record. It doesn't have to be perfect. But yeah, it was really out of tune. And I think that's what gave it some sort of tension and edge. God knows, Paul might have done that on purpose, knowing him. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I don't know why that sounds fun. That's why I was listening to that Rude Studio yesterday. That's what it was. Yeah, he's got a real 59 Paul, doesn't he? That's a line at the top if you want to rock and roll. There you go. The Elliot Tone Master. It's a very fun guitar. when you only got 2 tubes for gain like this, listen to how sensitive, touch sensitive. I'm not going to change the guitar, right? There you go. I beat it up. So anyway, I gotta go to lunch. I'm starving. Cleans up good. Quail eggs. I got a bunch. No, I'm probably just gonna go down the street and get a taco or. Yes, the old Trainwreck. So once again, this is a 1992 original Trainwreck, unmodified, completely unmodified, dead stock. Made by Ken Fisher, and its name is Ingrid, and it is for sale. It's really a collector's amp. You don't want to buy this thing to do much with. You can play it at home or in a studio or something. The price on this is pretty high. It's a very rare collectible amp. I think somewhere in the 30s you'd have it. I've seen lots, several of them go for well into the 40s, but just the economy being what it is. What tubes are in this? Mullard EL34s. They're actually labeled Tungsol 6CA7s, but they're labeled made in Great Britain, which is, glass ones. So they're EL34s, and there's a couple of vintage American 12AX7s in there. I can't remember which ones they are. Miles put pictures up on his Facebook. It's Miles with a Y. But yeah, basically it's 3 12AX7s and 2 EL34s, solid state rectified. If I really turn this down, you can get very... If I go really bright, yeah, we can do total. So I've got the guitar on like 3, and I just turn the bright cap on. So why on that shit I'm on? 'Cause when I get you alone, you know I feel alright. How's it go? I'm gonna go neck pickup. Brought to you all with no channel switching and no effects loop. Isn't it amazing? Let's see. Big fat. Baby's good to me. You know she's happy as can be. Do you know if that bright function is something you can make foot switchable? Yeah, absolutely. How many watts is the Trainwreck? I think it's in the low 40s. Whoa, I'm so far out of tune. Hang on a second. Let me pull that off really quick. See if we can get Ticket to Ride out of a P90.
Call from guitar hanger. Call from guitar hanger.
Hang on a second. Guitar hanger.
Call from guitar hanger.
Just to show you some versatility. Let's see, that's kind of warbling, isn't it? Pre-delay. Normal. Oh, modulating. Yeah, I don't want that. Let's do this. Think I'm gonna be sad. I think it's today. Just showing you, man, if you play the guitar, you can get the sounds. You don't need 14,000 effects and everything else. If you have a really good amp, most guitars will do what you need them to do. These are P90s wound on Jazzmaster bobbins, and I'm getting a pretty convincing Beatles sound out of it, right? She's got a ticket to ride. A lot of reverb, isn't it? Is that standard tuning? Yes. Won't back down. What's the changes on that? I have the other Tom Petty song stuck in my head, you know. I mean, there's. Oh, good question here. Dirty 59 says, how did you like that EH 185 you got? That was fantastic. Oh, really, really good specimen of it. That's not it, though. Won't Back Down is... I can't think. Something like that. Won't Back Down. What's the chord changes on Won't Back Down? I'm having a hard time. I'm blanking. Jukebox Dan. I can't think of the phrase, though. I'm having one of those days. I'm astonishingly tired. I can't think of the phrasing. Help me, help me, help me. Oh yeah, Gibson Les Paul 88. I haven't done any shows with the Marquee. Yeah, I'm thinking about reintroducing that amp with the master voltage again. Because it's such a fun amp. I love it. E minor D. What's the phrase, though? As I won't back down. Well, is that right? I won't back down. Is that close? I've never played that song before. Will you? Eric, come on, man. I've never played the song before. It's my first check. Give me a break. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Close enough for rock and roll. Thanks, man. Honestly, I've never played that song. Oh, yeah. Innocence is no excuse. I know. Man, 46-year-old rock and roller. I am the epitome of innocence. I just want you to know. Yes, I Am Innocent. I like Tom Petty, though. I just never really played the music. That is my Strymon Blue Sky reverb on there, too, just so you know. Yep. Is that the one you want? Yeah. What's the other one? I can crank it up a little bit. It's way too much verb. Where's my effects loop? Still too much verb. Yeah. Verb just gets in the way, man. How about a little? A little bit of tape echo. Just a little. Hear it in there. She grew up in an Indiana town with her pants falling down, or whatever it is. Jotacaster. Dan, you want to tell me the London Pro sounds pretty much like the Blue Line London? Yeah, it's pretty close. You know, I say it's 90% the same. I just got a Sean Mullins DVD where Peter is playing a 212 London combo, and I have to say the sound is very close to my London Pro. Yeah, it's as close as I could get. Yeah, I could do a Blue Sky into a Monterey and do that American thing. But I mean, this pedal is why I don't put reverb in an amp. You know, it's like there's no way I can do anything that sounds as good with a tube and a spring. Peter has a little combo next to the London. Yeah, that is a little Elvis. That's right. All right, guys, I'm going to bail out. It's been almost 2 hours. I'm a voodoo child. Well, Lord, I'm a voodoo child. Fun old amp. That was the Elliot Tone Master on 3. I got the guitar on 3. Lots of raunch and roll. Good night, Trainwreck. Good night, Moon. Good night, Bed. Good night, Stars. Good night, everyone. Wherever you are. Yeah, that's the Elliot Tone Master. It's freaking nice. What do you need Kleenexes for, Josh? You Josher, you. You're fun. Yeah, anyway, I think the Trainwreck is a really nice example. This is one of the later ones that he made, and it was 20 years ago, of a design ethic that I really like. Simplicity, purity, and correctness. And while that amp is a little wild, and you can get some bad sounds out of it, but you heard me play 3-4 different guitars here, and they were all distinct. I was able to roll the guitar back and play guitar still, which is kind of like a lot of vintage amps are like that. And it's versatile, even though it's only got 4 knobs, and it doesn't have an effects loop, and it doesn't have reverb on it. Very dynamic. That's right, Eric. And to me, that is very desirable in an amplifier. The problem with very dynamic amps is they're not very forgiving. So if you hit a clinker, it comes out. But if you hit something with a little finesse to it, it also comes out. So when you're buying an amp that has 17 gain stages and 300 knobs on it, you don't really hear the finesse stuff, but it does cover up sloppiness a little bit. And sorry about the phone. It can hide some bad technique, and it can hide, what's the right way to say it? You got to play the instrument. If you can't really play the instrument, you're not going to sound great. And I know most of you guys are all guitar players. You can probably play the instrument. I'm speaking more to the guys that want to just go buy a game. If I buy this amp and this guitar, I'll sound like Hendrix. Or, a lot of stuff made overseas doesn't have that balance and articulation because their components are really, just low quality. They're not bad. I mean, if you need to spend $900 on an amp, that's the best you're going to do. I've played lots of $900 to $1,200 amps, and I thought it sounded great. They're not something I would play a gig with. They're not something I'd do a record with, but for sitting around the house playing guitar, they're great. It's fine. It's just side by side with real vintage gear. It's apples and oranges. And, something like this, this is at the time Ken started making these in the 80s. He was taking what he felt was the best of vintage stuff and putting it into one amp. So the tone stack's kind of like a Fender, kind of like a Marshall. The knobs are standard stuff. Oh, excuse me. So, and it was also a lot easier to get good sounding parts then than it is now. So that back then you weren't buying stuff from China. Cheap parts came from Mexico, which still sound fine. They sound great. And there's nothing super special inside this amp. He uses really nice filter caps. And The wiring is flawless, and believe it or not, lead dress makes a huge difference on an amp. Just recreating a circuit is less than half of the sound of an amp. There's a method to wiring them up, and it makes a big difference in the sound. So you hear a lot of guys cloning stuff, and Kingfisher had a way of doing lead dress and doing wire routing that was unique at the time. And it looks flawless and consistent inside. It's really, really nice. That's kind of what we strive for. You know, he took a lot of time building his amps. He would take months to build these amps. So he would, you know, pour over them. Excuse me. Gosh, I'm getting tired and hungry. Even over my bad computers, this is a Touchstone. Like reference. Yeah, that's right, Eric. This is one of the Holy Grail reference pieces, which is why they cost so much. You know, you want to buy a rare old sports car, they're not cheap. Something that is a reference point or sort of a milestone. That, yeah, low blood sugar yawns, that's right. And I've got a lot of work to do before the day's over. So I'm going to split. I could just sit here and talk about amps all day long. But thank you guys. Look, my phone was okay. Oh, good. Oh, good. Orders. Oh, orders. I like orders. Sorry. Peter called me twice. I wonder why Peter was calling. I better call him back. Anyway, I hope you guys are good. I really appreciate your time, and the kind words are just so flattering. I don't know what to say. I don't take that lightly. I'm truly honored, and I thank you seriously and sincerely. I have a lot of fun doing what I'm doing. It's very challenging at times, but I really feel lucky to do what I do. And I'm just a kid who wants to play loud rock and roll guitar. Only I'll be 47 in a few months, and I'm still that kid. So, thank you, Stratocaster Mojo. Sure, Eric. Gosh, that's really nice of you to say. Thank you for the environment and the sharing of knowledge. I'm just telling you what I know. I don't know everything. I think I tend to be a little more prying and curious than most people, but I have no idea the truth. Oh my gosh. I'm just trying to do it my way, and I'm very, very flattered that you guys dig it. And so it's so much fun. I'm going to go eat because I'm dying over here. So anyway, again, it's March 28th, 2012. My name's Dan Boole. I'm president of 65 Amps. And today we've been playing a 1992 100% original Trainwreck Express, built by Kingfisher with 2 EL34s and 3 12AX7s in it. I hope you had fun. And please shoot me emails and Facebook messages and about stuff you want to do on the show. I'd be very glad to accommodate. So thank you guys very much, and I'll see you next week. I have a couple of guys that are supposed to guest on the show, so we'll see what happens. A lot of times these things fall apart. But anyway, sincere best, and we'll talk soon. Okay, take care.